Attraction is not only about physical beauty. It goes far beyond the shape of your face, the size of your body, or the clothes you wear. Real attraction comes from energy, presence, and the way you carry yourself in the world. Many people spend years improving their appearance, yet they overlook the invisible habits that slowly steal their attractiveness. Today we will explore 5 powerful mistakes that silently make you less attractive, mistakes you might not even notice. Understanding them is not about pleasing others, but about becoming the best, most magnetic version of yourself. Because true attraction begins in the mind, flows into the soul, and expresses itself through the body. Mistake 1. Neglecting your inner world. The first mistake is neglecting the inner world, ignoring your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual growth. You can wear the finest clothes, take care of your hair and skin, but if inside you carry bitterness, insecurity, or emptiness, people will feel it. Psychology teaches us that emotions radiate outward. A person who lives in constant anxiety or anger unconsciously projects it, making others uneasy. On the other hand, a person who cultivates peace, curiosity, and kindness becomes naturally magnetic. Philosophically, the Greek thinker Socrates once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." When you avoid self-reflection, you allow negative patterns to rule your behavior. But when you nurture wisdom, gratitude, and purpose, your energy changes. That energy is what makes people want to be around you. So the first invisible mistake is forgetting that your inner world shapes your outer presence. Mistake 2. Losing the power of listening. The second mistake that steals your attractiveness is the inability to listen deeply. Many people focus only on what they want to say, waiting for their turn to speak, rather than opening their ears and hearts to others. From a psychological perspective, active listening is one of the most powerful ways to build connection. When someone feels truly heard, they associate that feeling of safety and validation with you. On the other hand, when you constantly interrupt, dismiss, or fail to pay attention, people subconsciously distance themselves. Philosophically, wisdom traditions have always praised silence. Lao Tzu, the Chinese sage, wrote that those who speak little and listen much often see the truth more clearly. Listening is not just politeness, it is respect, humility, and presence. When you fail to listen, you unknowingly push people away. And when you cultivate the art of listening, you become magnetic, because presence itself is deeply attractive. Mistake 3. Complaining without awareness. The third mistake is constant complaining. Everyone feels frustration sometimes, but when negativity becomes a habit, it drains your attractiveness. People may tolerate it at first, but over time, they feel suffocated by the energy of constant dissatisfaction. Psychologically, complaining rewires the brain. The more you complain, the more your mind seeks out problems instead of solutions. This creates a cycle of negativity that not only repels others but also weakens your own spirit. From a philosophical perspective, complaining is a form of surrendering your power. Instead of acting, you react. Instead of shaping your destiny, you allow circumstances to define you. True strength, as Stoic philosophers taught, is not in controlling the world, but in controlling your response to it. When you stop complaining and begin seeking meaning in your struggles, your energy shifts. You become someone who inspires, rather than someone who drains. And inspiration is irresistibly attractive. Mistake 4. Ignoring body language. The fourth mistake is neglecting your body language. Many people are unaware of how their posture, gestures, and facial expressions shape the way others perceive them. You might not notice it, but the way you carry yourself can either invite connection or push people away. A slouched back, crossed arms, or lack of eye contact communicates insecurity or disinterest. On the other hand, an open posture, steady eye contact, and relaxed movements signal confidence and presence. Psychologists remind us that nonverbal communication often speaks louder than words. People may forget what you said, but they rarely forget how you made them feel. And much of that feeling comes from body language. Philosophically, the body is not separate from the soul. The way you move in the world reflects your inner state. When you carry yourself with dignity and self-respect, others sense it, and they are naturally drawn to it. Mistake 5. Forgetting authenticity. The final mistake is forgetting authenticity, hiding your true self behind masks of perfection, social approval, or imitation. Many people try to fit into an image of what they believe others want. But in doing so, they lose their natural charm. Psychologically, authenticity builds trust. People are drawn to those who are real, even if imperfect. When you try too hard to be someone else, people feel the disconnection. But when you embrace your uniqueness, your presence becomes refreshing. Philosophically, authenticity is the essence of freedom. As Nietzsche once wrote, the task of life is to become who you truly are. Authenticity requires courage, the courage to stand alone if needed, The courage to live your truth without apology. And that courage is the foundation of true attraction. Final reflection: attractiveness is not simply a matter of appearance. It is the harmony of mind, body, and soul. You may unknowingly become less attractive when you neglect your inner world, stop listening, complain without awareness, ignore body language, or lose authenticity. But the good news is that every one of these mistakes can be transformed. By cultivating self-awareness, listening deeply, replacing complaints with gratitude, carrying yourself with presence, and living authentically, you can radiate a beauty that no time, no trend, and no circumstance can take away. Because the truth is this: real attraction is not about being admired, it is about being remembered for the light you bring into the lives of others. The psychology behind attraction. Before we go deeper into each mistake, let's pause to reflect. What does it actually mean to be attractive? Attraction is not simply the rush of admiration someone feels when they see a face or a body. True attraction has layers. On the surface, physical features may spark attention. But psychology shows that long-term attraction, the kind that creates bonds, friendships, and lasting relationships, comes from emotional presence, trust, and authenticity. People often remember less what you looked like and more how you made them feel. Did you bring calm or chaos? Did you inspire or drain? Did you awaken curiosity or create boredom? In this sense, attractiveness is not only about beauty, it is about emotional resonance. The 5 mistakes we are exploring matter because they disrupt this resonance. They make it harder for others to connect with your essence. Mistake 1: expanded, neglecting your inner world. Neglecting your inner world is like trying to build a house on unstable ground. From a distance, the house may look beautiful, but inside, cracks form in the foundation. When someone ignores their inner growth, insecurity shows up in subtle ways: constant comparison with others, jealousy, or defensiveness. Even if they smile, their energy communicates fear. People may not consciously notice it, but they feel it, and feelings shape attraction far more than appearances. Philosophically, this mistake reminds us of the Stoic teaching: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you neglect the inner world, you give up this power. But when you cultivate self-awareness, emotional balance, and gratitude, your presence becomes magnetic. The lesson here is simple: inner beauty creates outer radiance. Without it, physical beauty alone loses its power. Mistake 2: expanded, losing the power of listening. Listening is more than silence. It is the ability to hear not just words, but emotions, fears, and unspoken truths. Most people listen to reply, few listen to understand. When you lose the power of listening, you unknowingly push people into loneliness. They feel unseen, unheard, and undervalued. And there is nothing less attractive than making someone feel invisible. On the other hand, when you listen with presence, when your eyes meet theirs, when your silence says "I'm here, I care," you give one of the rarest gifts in today's world: attention. Philosophy has always linked wisdom with silence. In Buddhism, the practice of mindful listening is a path to compassion. In ancient Greece, the Pythagoreans required students to remain silent for years before speaking, so they could learn to truly hear. If you want to become magnetic, practice listening. Because when people feel heard, they feel drawn to you. Mistake 3: expanded, complaining without awareness. Complaining is like poison: slow, invisible, and contagious. Each complaint spreads negativity not only to yourself but to everyone around you. Psychologically, neuroscientists discovered that the brain rewires itself with repetition. The more you complain, the more your brain looks for reasons to complain. This doesn't just harm your mood, it changes your entire energy. Philosophically, complaining is resistance without action. It is a refusal to accept what is, without the courage to change it. The Stoics believed that life is divided into 2 things: what we can control and what we cannot. Complaining wastes energy on what we cannot control, leaving us weaker. People are not naturally attracted to negativity. They may pity it, they may endure it, but they rarely admire it. On the other hand, resilience and gratitude inspire. The most magnetic people are not those with perfect lives, but those who rise above imperfection with grace. Mistake 4: expanded, ignoring body language. Imagine 2 people walk into a room. One looks down, shoulders slouched, movements closed. The other stands tall, relaxed, with steady eyes. Which one draws attention without a word? Body language speaks the language of the soul. A confident posture shows self-respect, an open stance shows trust, a warm smile shows kindness. All of these communicate long before words do. Psychology confirms that first impressions are formed within seconds, and much of it is based on nonverbal signals. You may think words matter most, but the truth is, People often believe your body more than your voice. Philosophically, the body is not separate from the mind. The way you stand, walk, and gesture reflects your inner state. If you want to change how others perceive you, begin with how you carry yourself. The secret here is not to imitate confidence but to embody it by working on the inner world, because authentic confidence naturally shapes body language. Mistake 5 expanded, forgetting authenticity. Of all the mistakes, this may be the most damaging. To forget authenticity is to abandon the essence of who you are. Authenticity means living in alignment with your values, emotions, and truth. It means being unafraid to show imperfections. When you hide behind masks, people sense it. They may not know why, but they feel distance. Psychologically, authenticity is the foundation of trust. Without it, relationships remain shallow. With it, even flaws become attractive, because they show courage. Philosophically, Nietzsche's challenge echoes loudly: become who you are. To be authentic requires bravery, the bravery to disappoint those who expect you to be someone else, the bravery to risk rejection, the bravery to stand in your truth. Ironically, the more you try to please others, the less attractive you become. And the more you dare to be authentic, the more magnetic your presence becomes. Why these mistakes go unnoticed? The reason these 5 mistakes are so dangerous is not because they are rare, but because they are common. Most people are blind to their own patterns. We rarely notice when we neglect our inner world, when we stop listening, when we complain too much, when our body language betrays us, or when we lose authenticity. Why? Because the human mind is designed to normalize. Whatever you repeat becomes familiar, and whatever is familiar feels invisible. This is why someone can live years in negativity without realizing how much it shapes their attractiveness. Psychologically, this phenomenon is called habituation. When you get used to something, your brain stops paying attention to it. You may not notice your tone of voice growing sharper, your posture shrinking, or your conversations turning into endless complaints. But others notice. Philosophically, this is a reminder of one of Socrates' greatest teachings: the unexamined life is not worth living. To live without self-awareness is to walk blindly. Attraction, like wisdom, requires reflection. The subtle energy of attraction is not only physical, not only psychological, but also energetic. People often describe it as a vibe, an atmosphere someone carries. And this energy is shaped by your habits, the very habits behind these 5 mistakes. 1. Neglecting your inner world creates restless, anxious energy. 2. Failing to listen creates distant, self-centered energy. 3. Complaining creates heavy, draining energy. 4. Weak body language creates uncertain energy. 5. Losing authenticity creates confusing, false energy. None of these are visible in the mirror, but they are felt in every interaction. Attraction is not about perfection, but about harmony. When your mind, body, and actions are aligned, you radiate harmony. When they are fractured, your energy feels fragmented. This is why people may not know why they are less drawn to you, they simply feel something is off. The role of self-respect. Every mistake ultimately points back to one core issue: self-respect. When you neglect your inner world, you fail to respect your own growth. When you stop listening, you fail to respect the presence of others. When you complain constantly, you fail to respect life itself. When your body language collapses, you fail to respect your own presence. When you lose authenticity, you fail to respect your truth. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is not vanity. It is the quiet recognition of worth. And when people sense that you respect yourself, they instinctively respect you too. Respect is attractive. Disrespect, even in subtle forms, is repellent. Philosophically, this echoes the wisdom of Confucius: respect yourself and others will respect you. Attraction begins not with beauty, not with charm, but with self-respect. Practical reflections. Let's take each mistake and imagine how to correct it in everyday life. 1. Inner world. Create moments of stillness. Journal, meditate, or walk in nature. Ask yourself not what do I look like today, but who am I becoming? 2. Listening. Next time someone speaks, resist the urge to prepare your reply. Instead, notice their eyes, their tone, their silence. Listening is not waiting, it is receiving. 3. Complaining. When you feel the urge to complain, pause and ask, am I seeking change or sympathy? If change, act. If sympathy, reframe it with gratitude. 4. Body language. Stand as if you respect the ground you walk on. Breathe deeply. Let your shoulders relax. Look at the world not with fear but with curiosity. 5. Authenticity. Each day, remove one mask. Speak one truth you often hide. Take one step toward becoming more of yourself, not less. The deeper philosophy of attraction is not manipulation. It is not a set of tricks or techniques. It is alignment with truth. When we talk about mistakes that make you less attractive, we are really talking about mistakes that pull you away from your essence. Each mistake is a form of self-abandonment, abandoning growth, abandoning presence, abandoning gratitude, abandoning embodiment, abandoning truth. And the path back to attractiveness is not vanity, but integrity. When you return to yourself, you naturally return to your radiance. In Eastern philosophy, there is a saying, when the flower blooms, the bees come uninvited. You do not chase attraction. You cultivate your being, and attraction follows. The invisible language of presence attraction is not only what we say or do, but also what we radiate without words. Presence is silent but powerful. It is the subtle language that speaks louder than appearance. When you walk into a room, people sense you before you even open your mouth. They read your posture, your facial expression, your level of calm or anxiety. This is the language of presence, and it reveals more about your attractiveness than your clothing or your beauty. If you neglect your inner world, your presence feels unsettled. If you don't listen, your presence feels closed. If you complain, your presence feels heavy. If your body language collapses, your presence feels insecure. And if you lose authenticity, your presence feels hollow. Philosophically, this reflects the ancient principle, as within, so without. What you cultivate internally always finds its way into your external presence. Mistake 1 Revisited, forgetting inner growth. Neglecting your inner world is the root of many other mistakes. Without self-reflection, you drift into habits that weaken your light. You may become reactive, bitter, or restless without even realizing it. Psychology teaches us that people are drawn to those who have a sense of inner stability, what Carl Rogers called congruence. A congruent person is aligned, their inner state and outer actions match. This alignment creates trust and natural attraction. When you forget inner growth, you lose congruence. You begin to project confusion, and confusion repels. The wisdom here is simple: if you want to attract, focus less on decoration and more on cultivation. Grow in wisdom, patience, and depth. These qualities cannot be bought or faked, but they can be felt immediately. Mistake 2 Revisited, not truly listening. Listening is a forgotten art. In a world full of voices, the rarest gift is silence. A person who truly listens becomes magnetic. Why? Because people are desperate to be heard. When you give them that gift, they associate you with peace and connection. Not listening, on the other hand, communicates subtle arrogance. It says, "My voice matters more than yours." People feel this instinctively and begin to withdraw. Philosophically, listening is a form of love. It is a suspension of ego. It is saying, for this moment, you exist more than I do. When you fail to listen, you fail to love. And when love is absent, attraction fades. Mistake 3 Revisited, complaining without awareness. Complaining creates an atmosphere of scarcity. It announces to the world that life is never enough. Psychology explains that our brains are wired with negativity bias. We notice threats and problems more than blessings. Complaining feeds this bias until it becomes a habit. But people sense this habit as emotional pollution. Think of energy like a room. Some people enter and brighten it, others dim it. A chronic complainer dims the room before they even finish speaking. Philosophically, complaining is ingratitude in disguise. It rejects the gift of the present moment. Gratitude, on the other hand, expands life. A grateful person radiates abundance, and abundance is irresistibly attractive. Mistake 4 Revisited, weak body language. Your body speaks before your words do. Shoulders hunched, eyes lowered, movements hesitant, these are silent signals of insecurity. People instinctively trust strength. This is not about domination but about groundedness. A person who stands tall signals, "I respect myself." Psychologically, this is called embodiment. How you carry your body influences how you feel and how others respond. Stand tall, and you feel confident. Collapse, and you feel defeated. Your body and mind constantly shape each other. Philosophically, the body is the vessel of the soul. To carry it with dignity is to honor the life within. Weak body language is not just unattractive, it is a betrayal of your spirit. Mistake 5 Revisited, losing authenticity. The deepest wound in attraction is inauthenticity. When you wear too many masks, you confuse others and exhaust yourself. People may admire the mask, but they cannot love it, because it is not you. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance, the stress of living out of alignment with your truth. This stress leaks out in your tone, your energy, your choices. People sense the gap even if they cannot name it. Philosophically, authenticity is integrity, being whole. When you lose it, you split yourself. And nothing fragmented can remain attractive for long. Authenticity is magnetic because truth is magnetic. When you are unapologetically yourself, you radiate freedom. And freedom is irresistible. The interconnection of all 5 mistakes. These mistakes may seem separate, but in reality, they are deeply connected. Neglecting the inner world leads to poor listening. Poor listening leads to disconnection and complaint. Complaints weaken body language. Weak body language invites inauthentic masks. It is a chain. And breaking free begins with one conscious choice, to return to yourself. Philosophically, this mirrors the idea of the golden mean in Aristotle's Ethics: balance. Too much or too little of anything creates imbalance, and imbalance repels. But balance attracts. The path back to radiance to correct these mistakes is not to become perfect, but to return to presence. Cultivate your inner garden. Listen with the ears of the soul. Speak gratitude more than complaint. Carry your body as if it holds light. Dare to be unapologetically real. When you live this way, attraction stops being an effort. It becomes your natural state. In Eastern philosophy, Lao Tzu wrote, "When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you." The attractive person is not the one who seeks attention but the one who radiates wholeness. Attraction as a mirror of the soul. Attraction is often misunderstood as something external, a matter of beauty, fashion, or social tricks. But the truth is deeper. Attraction is a mirror of the soul. Each of the 5 mistakes is not just a behavior but a signal. When you neglect your inner world, you signal restlessness. When you fail to listen, you signal disconnection. When you complain, you signal scarcity. When your body language collapses, you signal insecurity. When you lose authenticity, you signal fear of rejection. Others respond not to the surface but to the signals beneath. The surface can deceive for a time, but the soul cannot remain hidden. The universal law of resonance. Psychology and philosophy both point to the same truth: we attract not what we want, but what we are. This is sometimes called the law of resonance. Like attracts like, not in a superficial sense, but in an energetic one. If you live in gratitude, you attract abundance. If you live in complaint, you attract bitterness. If you live authentically, you attract truth. If you abandon yourself, you attract abandonment. The 5 mistakes weaken your resonance. They make you less attractive not because others are cruel, but because energy responds to energy. Beyond attraction, toward wholeness, it is important to remember that attractiveness is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is wholeness, to live aligned with your essence. Attraction is simply the natural byproduct of wholeness. When you respect yourself, others respect you. When you love your truth, others feel safe to love you. When you carry yourself with dignity, others treat you with dignity. Philosophically, this is the path of virtue. The ancient Greeks taught that beauty and goodness are inseparable. The truly attractive life is also the truly good life. The hidden wisdom of the 5 mistakes. Each mistake is not just a flaw but an invitation. Neglecting the inner world teaches you the necessity of growth. Failing to listen reminds you of the sacredness of connection. Complaining awakens you to the power of gratitude. Weak body language challenges you to embody your spirit. Losing authenticity pushes you toward the courage of truth. In this sense, mistakes are not enemies but teachers. They reveal the path back to radiance. Final reflection: attraction fades not when beauty fades, but when presence fades. The 5 mistakes make you less attractive because they dim the light of your presence, the light that comes from within. To be truly attractive is not to be flawless, but to be alive, aware, and authentic. It is to walk in the world with respect for yourself and reverence for others. And when you live this way, you will not have to chase attention or validation. Your presence will speak for itself. As Rumi once wrote, "What you seek is seeking you." When you stop abandoning yourself, life itself is drawn back to you.